Okay, so welcome to this mini session with CCL Business Climate Leaders. My name is Runa Vinjay, and I'm going to interview the two new co-leads of the new meteorologist sector team, Richard Larsen and Bob Lindmeyer. Welcome. I've also have my co-lead of the communication department, Mark Menser, on the call. Welcome to you. So Richard, you are a long-time CCLer. You're also a meteorologist. And Bob Lindmeyer, you are the chief meteorologist covering the weather for the WKOW
TV in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yes, and you've been doing that for 40 years, I read on your Facebook.
40 years, yes.
Wow, that's amazing. But you're also now co-leading as volunteers the newly launched METS team. So can you please tell us a little bit more about what meteorologists can do for the climate change crisis?
Okay, meteorologists are spread through a lot of the broadcast world and in industry also. And they are often viewed as scientists at those locations and trusted messengers on things like climate. We're trying to organize an effort to influence what they say.
Yes, as Richard mentioned, we're perceived as being trusted messengers when it comes to climate science. Climate scientists, many of them are effective communicators, but it's still something that they're learning to do better. But in particular, broadcast meteorologists, that's what we do. We communicate fairly complex ideas to the general public. So, and that's one of the challenges. Climate science is complex. And you have to dilute it down, simplify it enough for the general public to understand. So in particular, that's what broadcast meteorologists can bring to the table.
Wow, that's amazing. What can you say about your visions and objectives of the new team?
Well, we'd first like to get broadcast meteorologists making more of the links between weather and climate that are happening, like the forest fires in California today. And so we'd like them to make the connection and talk about climate change. And more than that, I think we want to develop a relationship with them, and so they could possibly talk about other things, even solutions, or even maybe join us in lobbying efforts as a trusted messenger.
Yeah, we're trying to convince broadcast meteorologists to speak out about climate change. A lot do, but there's still a lot that don't. There's some hurdles that a lot of broadcast meteorologists have to overcome. But for, I think, a lot of them that aren't speaking out, they're kind of on the edge, and they just need a little encouragement. So that's where this meteorologist sector team comes in. We can have CCL members that are in the viewing area of those broadcast meteorologists, communicate with them and encourage them to speak out about climate change.
Bob, let me ask you, if I might, are some of those hurdles the networks' reluctance to talk about climate change on some of their channels?
It is. Some networks discourage it, and some outright don't allow it at all. There's different levels of discouragement that are out there by some of these networks. But it's still, I think, a minority of the broadcast meteorologists that have that limitation. There's other limitations too. And it can just come down to the local level, the local station manager, the local news director that need to be convinced as well.
Interesting. So talking about your team and your future team, who would you like to join the new team?
Well, I think, well, we would like to have just, we'd like to have CCL join the team. I think the action teams are pretty much microcosms of CCL itself. So we need people to do the influencing. We need people to keep track of things. We'd like you know there to be within our team to have smaller teams within regions working on this, so they can cover for each other and do different tasks. So it's a bit like CCL in itself.
How many people are you hoping to join?
Well, right now we have about 100 on the list, and we probably have 60 or 70 that are active, and that's been growing since we relaunched in June.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we want to be much larger. We want to be able to cover all the geographic areas of the United States, and we're in by no means all of them right now. And I might add that the only qualification that's required from our CCL membership is the motivation to want to do this. Just being a viewer within that local broadcast meteorologist area, sending an email, communicating on social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, or others, is really important, because TV stations seriously take into account what their viewers are communicating with them. So we found that, and I've, in my own instance, in my own situation, what viewers communicate make a difference, and that's what our CCL members can do.
Great. So how much time do you think your volunteers will need to spend on this, and how often do you meet?
Okay, we meet as a action team once a month on a Zoom call. Mm-hmm. One of the things we do, we kind of review how many calls have been made and how many stations have been contacted. So obviously it's up to people's schedules how much they do. But we're keeping track, where we'd like to see who we're reaching and how we're reaching them and on the social media platforms.
And we meet once a month.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it is not only organization, but it's education, teaching our CCL membership on how to go about this, on how to use social media effectively. In our last meeting, we had one of our CCL members who was really good at Twitter. And I learned some things, and I use Twitter all the time. So they're going to learn the process that they need to go through when it comes to initiating this task that we're trying to do.
Great. And if people want to join the team, how should they join?
Okay, on the community CCL webpage, you go to the Meteorology Action Team, and there is a little button below Meteorology Action Team, and you just press the button and enter your name and maybe an email address, and then they'll be added to the list for the monthly calls.
Great, sounds easy. Okay, Richard and Bob, thank you for your time today. I and the whole BCL community wish you the best of luck with your new team.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we really encourage members to reach out. I think this is a way you can really make a difference and really use your time effectively.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.